Most studio owners are really good teachers. They care about their students, they spent years learning their instrument, and they know how to teach. But when it comes to the business side, it can feel inconsistent. Some months are good, but some months are slow. Most people don't know what to do when it comes to marketing. You might be making a lot of changes to your studio over time, and that will frustrate parents, that will frustrate the people that work under you, and those decisions might not stick. Even if you're a good teacher, a lot of people struggle because they don't know how to actually grow the studio. At the end of the day, a studio is a business, and a lot of good teachers weren't taught good business. So, here I want to give you the foundations for better marketing, better student retention, and strategies that studio owners have used successfully. Because you don't just need teaching skills, you need a full business repertoire, a set of skills that can actually make your business grow, like marketing, sales, pricing. Most people try to build a business without ever learning any of that. So we're going to start with this video, and we're going to hit the first thing that is foundational to everything, your thinking. So before we talk about marketing, I want to ask you something. I want you to write down one belief you have about your studio, just one. It could be anything. Maybe it's parents in my area won't pay more for lessons. Maybe it's I'm not good at sales or marketing feels fake. Maybe you just need more students to be successful. Now, ask yourself, is that true? Or is it something that you've just been repeating? Ask yourself, what happens if the opposite is true? How is that belief that you have affecting the way that you run your business? Because here's the truth, you don't have a studio problem. You most likely have a belief problem, and most new owners do. That's important because beliefs, the things that you think about your studio, are going to drive how you act about your studio, and how you act and the decisions that you're making are going to affect the results that you're getting. If you believe that being too salesy is pushing people around too much, you're going to avoid conversations that will help you grow your studio. If you believe that parents will pay you more, then you're not going to charge enough for your lessons, and you're going to leave money sitting there and not take it. If you believe you're a teacher and you never step into the role of a business owner, your business is not going to grow. You're not going to get more students because this belief about yourself is limiting your behavior and it is limiting your results. So before you go about trying to fix this business, you need a way to think about your own beliefs. You need a way to audit the thinking process behind your decisions. And there's a simple way to do that. This is the framework by which you need to evaluate your decisions. One, you need to name your belief. You need to be very specific about what you believe and why. Not my studio isn't growing. That's not a belief. A belief sounds like people around here won't pay more than $50 a month for lessons. A belief sounds like my parents aren't going to pay more than $80 a month for lessons for their students. That's something you can actually test. That is a very solid belief that you might have seen in your own business. Two, test the belief. Is this true? Is it provable? Can you say that this is a true sentence based on the experiences that you've seen? A lot of the time you might find this might not be a real true fact. It might just be a belief, a pattern that you've accepted. Three, I want you to turn it around. What would you do if the opposite were true? Would people pay more for you if the offer was better? Would they pay more if the results were clear? Flip that belief. Your parents aren't going to pay more. What if they were? And why would they be willing to pay more for those lessons? What if the offer was better? What if the results were clearer? What would be different about the lessons if this were true? Would anything be different about the lessons if this were true? Four, you're going to look at how that belief is showing up in your actions. You're going to think about this and think about how those beliefs manifest. If those beliefs manifest in positive ways or negative ways, you want to look at how this behavior is impacting my thinking and why am I thinking this way? Because every single belief that you have about your business, every single belief that you have about money, about students, about how people react to your marketing is going to affect how you run your business, how you run your studio, and the different things that you're going to do with your studio. So let me give you an example of how this would work in real time. Several studios have started marketing, have started posting on social media and doing a little bit of marketing, but they stopped. And the studio owner says they stopped because marketing wasn't doing anything for them. Let's turn that around. What if marketing was doing something for you? How can you test that? Go back out and try it again. Did you see any changes when you were doing the marketing? Can you prove that? And how can you measure that? Most people jump straight into running ads and social media and posting but they never change those fundamental beliefs, so they are self-sabotaging. Everything that they are building is not working the way that it should work because they're not addressing the fundamental beliefs they have about it that may or may not be true. This is the first step. And if you get this right, everything else gets easier. It doesn't become effortless, but it becomes clear and more consistent because you're going to have all of this internal beliefs aligned with reality. You're going to have the internal work done so you can start focusing on the external work, which is what we're going to be focusing on in the next video.